Boys and girls, get loose, grab your juice. It's Casual Samuel. Let's talk hoops. And today, I want to go through and grade all of the notable 2021 rookie extensions. No real rhyme or reason as to who we're starting with today, so we'll be kicking it off with Scottie Barnes. Scottie got a 5-year rookie max that could reach up to $270 million. He averaged 19.9 points per game last year, 8.2 rebounds, 6.1 assists, and 1.5 blocks. He shot 47% from the field and 34% from three. He just turned 23. During preseason, he was cooking. All right, I mean, he averaged 18 points per game and 25 minutes per game during the regular season. Ridiculous. And then while also hitting 38% from three. Outside of Grady Dick and maybe RJ Barrett, really just those two. I mean, looking again at that Emmanuel Quickley contract, maybe this is a cold take. I think he's just kind of a steroided Bones Highland, in my opinion.
You need to leave!
Don't hurt me for that, but he really is, he being Scottie Barnes, your only real main young centerpiece. So to start things off, a final grade, I give the Toronto Raptors and also Scottie Barnes, I give both of them an S. Just heading a touch south to the 313, we are talking next about Cade Cunningham. He got that same 5-year rookie max contract that can be worth up to $270 million. Last year, he averaged 22.7 points per game, 7.5 assists per game. He shot 44% from the field and 35% from three. There's a reason Detroit got this deal done, right? I mean, he is probably their best young talent in the past decade. I mean, it's weird. They've drafted, you go down the list, they've drafted pretty well. It's just a lot of those guys have either gotten traded or maybe were just selected a little bit too high for where Detroit was picking. I think this is an easy grade for Cade and the Detroit Pistons franchise. They both get an S as well. Still staying in the Midwest, we have Evan Mobley up next. He also got that same rookie max contract, 5 years up to $270 million. Last year, he averaged 15.7 points per game, 9.4 rebounds, 1.4 blocks. He shot 58% from the field, 37% from three. I don't think it was on high volume, if I am remembering right. It was like something real low, like 1.2, 1.4 a game. Hopefully I'll put it up on the screen. I mean, it was like on real low attempts. Still though, I mean, 37%. And then he's a career 109 defensive rating, which is pretty absurd. I think that's kind of the main draw with Evan Mobley. I know the comparisons to Kevin Garnett were, I mean, really out there to begin whenever he even got drafted, especially after that rookie year. I mean, everyone was ready to write him as the next KG. They thought he was big ticket and then some. But last year he missed 32 games plus front office. They need to decide if Jarrett and Evan, if the pairing really works. I think there's going to be a lot for this Cleveland organization to look at this upcoming season now, this season. I mean, shoot, NBA basketball kicked off. It doesn't even feel real yet if you can't tell. We'll see, though. Like I said, front office does need to take a look at the Donovan Mitchell and Darius Garland pairing while also looking at that Jarrett Allen and Evan Mobley pairing. Either way, though, I think he has DPOY potential. So with that, I give Evan Mobley and then, again, the Cleveland front office, I give them both an A grade. Heading south to where the 2020 NBA Finals were held, we will be talking next about Franz Wagner. He also, again, same rookie max. We don't even need to go over it. We know the number at this point. He, though, averaged 19.7 points per game, 48% from the field, and shot 28% from three. Pretty stinky. He was also 7 of 35 in the Olympics. That's 20%. He, like, 7 of 35 is a bit suspect. I don't know. That's pretty stressful. And he was 26.5% from three in the playoffs. So overall, I mean, from like 25 feet and beyond, it was a prayer anytime Franz was pulling up. It really was. I mean, and he was getting the attempts up too. I think if I remember right with him, it was like in that 5 range a game. So homie was chucking. He was chucking. Last thing I have in the notes here is the Robin to Banchero for sure. He really is. I think in Orlando right now, Paolo Banchero is Batman, and I think the Robin for him that is a good fit is Franz. But a max? Ew. Like, I know Orlando had to. They had to, and I get that. But I think, like, just on paper, like, giving him, like, up to 270. I mean, even the base being like 225, it's a lot of money. But with that, I mean, I don't hate it, but I don't love it. I think the final grade that's fair for both of them is a B. I think that's fair, just given, again, him being a Robin and what he kind of means to Paulo. I think a B is fair. To Houston we go. They actually had 2 extensions that they handed out. The first one, though, we'll be talking about was my favorite out of the 2, to Alperen Şengün. If you've known me even on this channel or any of the short form content I've done, I don't know what it is. I'm just obsessed with baby Jokic. I think he's insane. Wish he was on the Clippers. Not gonna lie. Wish Houston didn't offer this so that Steve could throw him a fat bag and have him play it into it. But that's not here or there. He got 5 years, $185 million. He didn't even get the max. I mean, I feel like he could have got the max. Maybe that's a cold take. Maybe I'm tripping. I don't know. He averaged 21.1 points per game last year, 5 assists, 9.3 rebounds. He shot 53% from the field, 29% from 3. It's not great beyond the arc, but I think the potential's there. I know the 29% is a little suspect, but I think he's got an outside shot in his game. Just let it breathe, let it develop. Main thing here, next to the notes, he is Houston's centerpiece. Don't get it twisted any other way. Like, he is Houston's main guy. No question about it. The fact they got him to agree to a non-max is outrageous. The fact they got him for 5 for 185, ridiculous. With that, it should come to no surprise. Alperen, the Houston front office, they get an S. And even though we're not even close to being done with this video, best rookie extension for that 2021 class by far. No question about it. Again, both of them, absolute S. Next up, the first of 3 Jalen's that got a rookie extension in that 21 class. He got a 5-year, $150.5 million contract deal this past Monday. He averaged 12.6 points per game. He shot 47% from the field while also shooting 39% from 3. All of that while also being named to the all-defensive second team.
Oh my God.
I mean, ridiculous. The only thing I really have concern with this contract, especially with Franz getting paid, Wendell, I think, got extended last year, if I remember right. Something like a 2-year extension, like $54, $59 million. Hopefully I'm right in the ballpark there. All that, though, brewing, I really do love this Orlando team. I think they have a lot of potential. You still got a fat Banchero contract extension coming, though. And I also think they still need to make a move for like an Anthony Simons. So while I see where Orlando's coming from, extending him a $30 million, annual average, it's a lot. It's a lot of money. So I mean, with that, the final grade I have for Jalen and the Magic front office is a C. It's a very high C, though. If there was a C+, I'd throw that in the mix. I just wish it would have been, I have here in the notes, I just wish it would have been a 5-year, 110 deal. I think fair for both sides. Florida's got no state income tax, I think. I think 5 years, 110 is a lot better on paper to digest than 5 years, 150. Again, though, final grade for Jalen and Orlando, a C. On to the next Jalen. We'll be talking about Jalen Johnson. He got a 5-year, $150 million contract. Last year had a massive jump. I mean, 16 points per game, 8.7 rebounds. Had a fat question mark next to that. I didn't know he got boards like that. Shot 51% from the field and also 35% from 3. He had a nearly 10.5 point per game jump from the year before.
What?
Like, that's ridiculous. I think he's probably the favorite for the most improved, I would probably guess, for this season. Especially if Trey's healthy. Trey can feed him all day and night. I think Zachary Risachet is probably going to come off bench. He's going to be very worked into the lineup. It's really Trey and Jalen Johnson as the main scoring options for that Atlanta team. I think with this Atlanta team as well, I think they're trying to replicate Orlando to an extent. I think they can create, I don't want to say a Dollar Tree version because that seems pretty harsh, but I think they can create like a Franz and Paolo type front court, back court, wing duo in Atlanta. I think they're hoping that Zachary and Jalen Johnson turn out to be that. So with all of that, I mean, with this jump, hopefully I think Atlanta fans really expect a pretty sizable jump from him again this year. I think it's a final grade for them. I give it a B for both of them. It's a little bit, I mean, again, that $30 million per year, if it doesn't turn out to be a big jump and it just is kind of stagnant at him kind of being like a 16 point per game guy, $30 million is a lot. Again, though, I think it's comfortable keeping him in the B just because every year there seems to be a TV deal that goes down and the cap's just skyrocketing. So I think a final grade of B is more than fair for, I think, both of those sides. Trey Murphy is who I have up next. He got a 4-year deal worth $112 million. Last year, he averaged 14.8 per game, 44% from the field, and shot 38% from three. Only kind of concern, and it's a light concern, he played 57 games last year, which I think was by far the lowest he's played in the NBA so far. But the 23 games he started, his stats went up. Like, I think his points per game went up by 2. I think his rebounds even went up by 2. And I think his assists ticked up by like 0.5, if I'm remembering right. The value's insane on this deal. And I think it's only going to get better when they move on from Brandon Ingram. Just because I think the Trey Murphy and Zion fit is much more smooth, at least on the eye test. I'm sure maybe there's advanced analytics that I would even think would back this up. I just think that combo is a lot better than the Zion and BI combo that they've tried to force. It just doesn't work. So I think once they move on from BI and they really let Zion and Trey Murphy run the show, I think it's just going to be exponential growth. And just to even prove that, Trey Murphy had the best plus minus on the entire Pelican squad. It was just him at the top. He was alone at the top. Trey Murphy means that much to this organization. So with that, combined with the insane value of the contract that the Pelicans and Trey agreed on, final grade I have for both of them, an A. I think that's an easy A.
Oh, hell no, man.
It's beyond obvious. I think that's completely... It just makes almost too much sense for both sides to agree to that. And I think what Trey Murphy brings to this Pelicans organization is so under the radar. To the last, Jalen Green. He had an extremely interesting rookie extension. He got a 3-year deal, $106 million, with I think that last year being a player option. I know Shams reported on it. I have it here. First rookie extension in NBA history to both be worth 9 figures and to include a player option after 2 seasons. So pretty kind of league-breaking stuff that Jalen and Houston agreed on. Last year, he had 19.6 points per game, but on just suspect efficiency. I mean, I think off the top of the dome, it was like low 40% from the field, and I think like 33% from 3, if I'm in the ballpark. Final grade is an A, but here's why. I'm just throwing that out right away just because some people might be shocked by that. Green is not a part of their long-term plan whatsoever, in my eyes, unless he has a just insane season this year, like 24 points per game on like 48% from the field, 38% from 3, not turning the ball over, playing like average defense. He's not part of the long-term plan in Houston. They got their eyes on a big fish that we've talked about before because that extension that they just gave him, especially the kind of nitty-gritty details of it, could allow them to trade Green, Amen Thompson, Jock, plus the Phoenix picks back to the Phoenix Suns, and I'm sure more, to go after Book next season. I think that's the big picture in all of this, especially this contract extension. There's already been articles written on it from different beat writers saying, I think, kind of the same thing. It almost seems to be like the big elephant in the NBA room right now that Houston is targeting D-Book. I know like over the summer it was maybe throwing out Kevin Durant. I think it's going to be Devin Booker. So with that, that's why I see both of Jalen Green and honestly the Phoenix Suns, but obviously the Houston Rockets. That's why I think if they get a final grade of an A. Next up to probably the most overlooked contract extension that did not get talked about in Corey Kispert. He got a 4-year deal worth $54 million. Last year, he averaged 13.4 points per game, shot 48% from the field and 38% from 3. A $13.5 million annual average is ridiculous for what Corey Kispert can bring, not just to any team, but especially a contending team. And the Wizards are far from that, right? So that's why I think this deal got so overlooked. I mean, the Wizards right now are such a dumpster losing organization, unfortunately, for you Wizards fans. It's not looking great. But you got Corey on the hook for $13.5 million a year. So it's either going to be riding him out and just kind of building pieces as along as you go. Alex Sarr, I don't know who else really, maybe Bilal Coulibaly. But with more so just the annual average that Corey got for what he produces, and also a rare Wizards W, I think this is an absolute S tier grade. I mean, $13.5 million is ridiculous, especially with the new TV deal that went down and the contract extension these guys are getting. Ridiculous, absolute S. And the final noteworthy rookie contract extension for that 21 class I have here is Moses Moody. He got a 3-year deal, $39 million. Last year, he averaged 8.1 points per game, 46% from the field, and shot 36% from three. Balled out in the preseason. I really had no idea. I didn't watch a ton of Warriors preseason, and I'll throw the stats up on the screen. The main thing, though, with these stats is Curry going to play him. Not like they have a total logjam, but you brought in Buddy Hield. I think there's going to be a lot of focus on Kuminga. I hope Moses Moody gets burned at least off the bench. Again, you have Pods as well. There's not a total logjam there. I think he can carve himself a role as the seventh man in Golden State. We'll see, though. But if he even plays up to 80%, just 80% of what he was doing in the preseason, the value on that deal, unreal. To get him for like $13 million a year for 3 years, ridiculous. So with that, final grade, I give Moses and Golden State, I give him a B, only because it sounds crazy after hyping all that up, but I gave it a B because I don't know how much Kerr's actually going to play him, or if it's more so an extension that was made to be used as trade bait. I think either way we'll find out. But when it comes to all those different things, again, $13 million, though, is just an insane probably value. I still feel comfortable, though, giving that deal specifically a B. Also, have to talk about the guys that didn't get an extension from that noteworthy 21 class, especially guys like Josh Giddey, Jonathan Kuminga, and Cam Thomas being the big names. Really shocked that Brooklyn didn't offer Cam a contract extension. He led the team in scoring at 22.5 points per game. He's a defensive liability, I understand that, but he had multiple 40-plus point games, and I know his efficiency isn't the greatest either. But, I mean, with that, I think a 3-year deal at $78 million with a player option in that third year where he can dip out if he's still balling out and get closer to that max contract range, I think is fair for both sides. And I'm not shocked that Chicago's waiting on the market for Giddey, especially after the rocky preseason that Giddey had. But it's pretty interesting considering he wanted $30 million was what he was looking for in that extension. I would probably hold off. I mean, I think it should be closer to like 3 years, $66 million with a team option in that third year, because I don't project him having a crazy year with Chicago, especially with them not having a ton of great shooters around Giddey and Giddey himself not being a great shooter whatsoever. And lastly, Jonathan Kuminga. I think he's going to ball out this year. I think he'll be the number 2 guy to Steph. I really think he's going to take another leap. He could also be in that most improved conversation alongside Jalen Johnson, probably. I see why Golden State's waiting, but I could still see him, and this is probably with him having like a most improved type year, like where it's like probably 20 plus per game on like, even if he just can shoot like 35% from 3, it's going to do numbers for what he'll get number-wise on that deal, for that pen to paper he'll be signing. I think what's fair for a potential team, whether that's Golden State, but also JK, is a 5-year deal worth $200 million with a player option in that last year. Again, I have probably above average expectations for JK. I just think he's going to help Golden State potentially compete for that play-in spot. So I think I foresee him getting probably like a $200 million deal. But that's how I feel about the rookie extensions. Do you agree? Do you think Jonathan Kuminga is going to get paid? How much do you think he's going to get paid? Outside of that, that's going to do it for today's video. If you're not subscribed, dude, I literally have a degree in casual takes. You're going to want to subscribe and hit that like button. But that's officially it for me today. I will see y'all in the next one.